I know it's been a long time, and thank you to those of you who are still here watching. Honestly, that support means so much to me because it has been quite some time, and I'm not ignoring the messages and questions about when I'm coming back to post, I promise, but I needed to take some time off to kind of figure out exactly what I wanted that new direction of my content to be. For those of you who are maybe new, I used to post content about investing in stocks and in crypto, and I kind of touched on NFTs for a minute. And it's not that I don't want to make that type of content, but it's that there's so much more that I feel like I have to say that I want to include. And ultimately, my goal is to help people and provide access to information that otherwise maybe people just wouldn't have the access to, especially in my community. Like if you go back and look at my old videos, that's always kind of been the thing that I wanted to get out there. So I feel like I just want to move from, not only investing, but also into just financial literacy overall. But that being said, thank you again. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. I will be posting videos consistently again. If you guys noticed, I have a new setup. My friend, his name is Sam. He is a videographer. His company is called X-Ray Productions. So I'm going to leave a link in the description box below if any of you guys need some content for whatever that may be. I love it when I hear from you guys because I feel like that gives me a good idea of who my audience is. Like, of course, I can go inside and look at an algorithm, but there's nothing like making that personal connection, And I recently had a birthday. For those of you who follow me, I think on Instagram, you probably saw my Instagram is nadia.house. I'll include it for those of you who don't follow me. You should. I like to talk to you and see all the beautiful people. But I wanted to talk about some things that I've learned so far in my 20s that I feel like have really I don't know. I feel like this past year I had a lot of realizations, and that was another reason I had kind of taken a break from content because it's hard to kind of portray this I'm happy all the time version of myself on camera when that may not be the case. But I really had to reflect in, just kind of some friendships that I had, my career plan, my finances, and kind of like try to get all of that together. And now I feel like, not that I think I have it all figured out, but I want to share what I have learned so far. But one of the biggest things that I feel like I realized lately is my friendships. And you always hear people say it, you are who you surround yourself with. I feel like my parents used to say that to me all the time, but they'd always, those sayings like, oh, if your friend jumps off a bridge, you're going to jump too. And I was always like, well, that's so crazy. Of course not. So this must not apply to me. But what I learned as I got older from different life experiences is that you really are who you surround yourself with because you kind of pick up your friends' habits. And yeah, there's something called the social proximity effect. And that just says that your friends' habits will become your habits. And that's very true. I really do pick up the interests and habits of people around me. So that can change anything, like if you have goals that you're working towards and you're around people who are on the same path as you, then that's more motivational and inspirational to do good things. But it can have a negative effect. And for me, for those of you who don't know, I personally do a lot of journaling. And I'm going to share kind of some of the questions that I asked myself when I was reevaluating friendships. Because I feel like I had people who had been in my life for a long time. And I thought, okay, because I've known them for a long time, they deserve to be there. But you can outgrow friendships. Things can change. And it's not about what you can get out of a person, but it's the overall relation. Friendships are relationships too. Is the overall relationship something that's beneficial for everybody? Is it good for your mental health? So some of the things I kind of looked back on was, like I was saying, was it just convenient? Was it because we were in proximity, because I'd known them? So there's like a familiarity and nostalgia, or was it healthy for me? And I kind of looked at, what do we talk about when we hang out? What do we do? How do I feel? Is it conducive? Do I feel drained after the hangouts, or do I feel inspired? Do I feel like something was off and not good for me? And just kind of really taking a step back and listening to that, because I've had so many friendships where we just kind of talked about old times, or I had friends who I would go out and party with. And I feel like that was just, not to say that I don't like to have a good time, but when you take toxic people and put yourself in a really toxic environment, it only leads to more problems. And I don't know, I feel like I just got tired of waking up feeling terrible about things that may have happened, or just the night itself or the next day, like I'm tired, I don't feel like doing anything, I'm lazy because how did I spend the night before? And like I said, this isn't to say you shouldn't have fun, especially in your 20s. Like I feel like this is the time to do that. But be careful about who you're surrounding yourself with, because I don't know, things can just really have a negative effect on you as much as they can have a positive effect if you're around the right people. I feel like I found myself often distracted and just there was some unhappiness. And don't stay in situations just because you feel comfortable because you've known someone. I really, really can't stress the importance of being around people who are good for you. I mean, it's affected everything from my spending habits to my network, like work opportunities, and even health goals. I'll say make a difference with who I'm around. I think it's really important to reflect on what things in life you want to change about yourself or achieve, because I don't know, I've kind of talked about the definition of success, and I feel like there are two things. I don't think I have a point that I'm ever like, oh, I feel successful now, and I stop. I feel like there's always room for improvement. And, it's good to just reflect and see what can be different. Success isn't linear. So this isn't to say it's easy once you just start journaling, all your problems will be solved. And it's really difficult because if you realize you don't have a good support system around you, then it can kind of feel lonely. I feel like there was a period of time that I went through where the core friend group that I had was no longer my core friend group. And that felt really lonely until I started to make new friends and venture out again. This isn't to say, I don't think I ever went to a point where I had nobody to talk to. That was never the case, but it is for some people. And so I understand what that can feel like. It's hard adjusting to big changes, especially with who's in your life. But as hard as it is, I feel like I felt better in the end after I reevaluated and surrounded myself with people who are better for me. And if this sounds like something you might be going through, it might be a good idea to try to meet new people. And if you're in Chicago, follow me on Instagram. I'm always going to different networking events, and I'd love to meet some of you. I had an event a while ago where I talked about investing in the market, and it had a really good turnout. So it was cool getting to meet some people there, and I want to do more stuff like that in the future. Because like I said, ultimately my goal is to help people and just give that access to information. I feel like these are things that maybe I knew, but it was never quite broken down for me. People would say like, like your parents or people who are good influences in your life, mentors maybe would say, I don't know if that friendship is good for you. And, you kind of think like, they don't know. Like I have fun though. And it is good for me. But when I didn't know what questions to be asking. So hopefully those things that I brought up will help you guys, reflect and see what really is good for you. And I feel like when it comes to finance, I would say the biggest thing is try to set yourself up for true financial freedom, to the point where you feel like you can, not to say you have to be like a billionaire or have this super large amount of wealth to be financially free, but try to set something up where you'll feel comfortable. There's the 50-30-20 rule, which I want to talk about a little bit more because I feel like it really helps with budgeting. And I think a huge thing that I noticed when I was talking about investing, I feel like people were kind of investing even when they weren't in the place necessarily to do that. There's a certain amount of things that I believe you have to do before you start investing. You have to be in the right headspace. You have to know that, hey, you could lose money. So is this money that you're truly okay with losing? Because I don't like when I see people, I think a lot of people sometimes who talk about investing, unfortunately, make it seem like you can go from having no money to being, I don't know, like a billionaire overnight. But that's just not realistic. You do have to have a certain amount of money. You have to be, I would say, financially in a place where you have disposable income before you start investing, just because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, nothing could have prepared us to know how COVID or stimulus checks or wars or anything that's happened lately would affect our economy, and especially not to the level that it did. And you just really have to be prepared for emergency situations too, Just biggest takeaway is don't invest money that you don't have. And if you're around my age, don't feel like you need to be at the financial level of someone who's in their 30s or in their 40s, because it takes time. It takes time to build something and to earn money. And especially if you're in the field like me where you're a creative, because I feel like I do have a lot of creatives who watch my content, whether that's art, in the form of like painting, drawing, videos, photography, me, content creators, anything. I feel like it takes a little bit longer to get to where you're at. And same with entrepreneurs. If you're starting your own business, it generally takes years for a business to become profitable. So never give yourself a hard time for not being where you want to be in the next 2 years. There's a big difference in having your own business and working for a corporate job. And what I wanted to say with career choices as well was because I did go through a period of time where I was working in a corporate office. I don't know, for a while. I was working, if you guys know, a clinic setting, and I worked with kids. I was a director for an after-school program for a while, and that was also another reason I took a break from my content, was because that was a very time-consuming job. So I have so much respect for people who also create content and are posting regularly on top of their 9-to-5 jobs. I've learned some serious time management in the past few months. But, all that being said, same with corporate, like be proud of yourself for where you are. Don't always just focus on chasing the next promotion, making more money. Yes, it's important to have goals and to have a vision for where you see yourself going, but be proud of where you are now, because your past self was, looking at the future like, oh, I can't wait until I get to this point. So I'm just saying, be happy about where you made it and what you've accomplished. There will be more that you will do in the future, but don't forget to be happy for where you've gotten already. And, it won't always be easy. Like I was saying, if you own your own business or are creative, because I know a lot of you on here have had your own businesses or invest or are creatives, and it takes time. And I think it kind of goes back to, who you're around, people who are around you, because it's not always easy, and it's really important to not feel alone. So I think it's good to have other people who are going through what you're going through and who can motivate you to work harder on the content that you're creating or the business that you're working on. And I love supporting my friends' businesses. I don't know if you guys have seen, I've brought a couple of my friends on the channel, and I feel like you guys really liked hearing their stories. So that's another thing you can be on the lookout for. There will be videos like this where it's me talking and giving you information as usual. I think you guys are used to that. The biggest difference is this new setup, but what I want to do more of is having people come on here who I know who are business owners or whatever the case. It could be actors. I feel like I've just never shown this much of myself on the internet. Maybe I touched on it when I had my mom on my channel, but we both used to do acting and modeling, and we're all just really involved in business. And so I'd love to share some things that I've learned from different people who I've met in my life along the way. And I will still be giving financial advice, but expect to see more interviews and content like this, and hopefully more vlogs of my lifestyle. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably see a lot of that. But I also, like I said, I really want to help people and give them access to information that I feel like we otherwise don't have. And I want to talk about my nonprofit foundation more, and just so many of the things that I have been working on. And if you guys have any specific questions, I want to do a video kind of updating on news with investing, like what's happening right now with Bitcoin in the economy and everything related to that, because I know it can be a really confusing concept, and I want to just break it down as easy as I can. But if you listen to all of this, I just wanted to say thank you again for sticking around. I know it's been a minute, but there really won't be another gap. I feel like I finally figured the direction that I want to go. And if you're still watching and still supporting, I appreciate you so much. I literally couldn't do this without you guys. So again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that. It's been a while, so that will really help me stay in the algorithm. And I'll be back shortly with another video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.